Hi, class. I'm sorry about that phone call. I was rudely interrupted by another form of technology. That's funny. So anyway, yeah. So I think I was talking about Nora's lack of power and how Torvald uh, wants to keep that reign of power, and by Nora walking away from the marriage and not taking anything from it, she uh, she she reorganizes society in a way. She does something so bold that women back in the day were talking about it. There's one source that says in London and this is in 1889, 10 years after the play was written. So in London, with this woman, the actress Janet A. Church was the person playing Nora. Uh, Someone wrote in a letter or in their journal, uh, her name is Ellis. So this woman, her name is Ellis, reacted to the moment that Nora walked out of the family home and shut the door. So she says, this is a quote, this is in Stephanie Forward's article. It says, how well I remember after that first performance of Ibsen's drama in London with Janet A. Church as Nora, when a few of us collected outside the theater, breathless with excitement. We were restive, almost savage in our arguments. This was either the end of the world or the beginning of a new world for women. What did it mean? Was there hope or despair in the banging of that door? Was it life or death for women? Was it joy or sorrow for men? Was it revelation or disaster? And James Joyce, who was a dramatist, very famous in the early 1900s, Ibsen's knowledge of humanity is no more obvious than in his portrayal of women. He amazes me by his painful introspection. He seems to know them better than they know themselves. Now that's a bit of a diss there, but I do get his point. It is interesting that a man writes this play, because Nora is such a strong heroine for women and for women's rights. But again, I think if you talk about Nora as a hero, you need to deal with the fact that Ibsen himself calls it a humanist play. But she does say, in her defense and in Ibsen's defense, he is the playwright after all. Nora does say that her first and foremost, she is a human being. She doesn't say first and foremost, I am a woman. She says first and foremost, I am a human being and I have a right to live my life on my own terms. I think that's why we love Nora. We love Nora because she shuns a society that puts her down. And we can relate that to many things today. When we understand Nora and why she leaves and get over the shock of it, even today, I think even today it's shocking. And like, to me as a mother, I do have to say I have some trouble with her leaving her children behind, 3 young children. But on the other hand, we don't know what happens in the future. There were several performances where Ibsen, early in the staging of the play, where they made Ibsen change the ending, and he said it was preposterous. Can you imagine? So they made Nora leave, and then, oops, she comes back, which really defeats the whole purpose of the play. The shocking ending, I think, makes the play. We don't see it coming. I don't think we see it coming. We see Nora change, but I think that last scene where she and Torvald finally sit down for the first time, it is shocking, and it's powerful, and it's a powerful statement about the wrongs of society. She says, "You have wronged me." I always think about the part where she says, It is because of you that I've made nothing of my life. And I'm not sure if that's entirely true. Uh, in the same discussion, she says she doesn't love him anymore. And I think she says that because it's a way to let him down. It's a way for her to say that in order for him not to follow her. And I think that if she said she loves him, that would give him hope, and she doesn't want to give him hope. So, and in your ending, think about when you write conclusions. In your ending, you might want to propose some ideas as to what happens to Nora, because I think we all wonder what happens to Nora. There was a production in New York a couple years ago where they wrote Doll's House Part 2, and Nora came back as a businesswoman, I think. I didn't see that version, but obviously it wasn't written by Henrik Ibsen. So, but in your own ruminations of the play, and when you write about it, that's something that you might want to add to a conclusion. What becomes of Nora? Like, in your mind, does she become a feminist? Does she find a good job? Does she start a business? What do you think Nora Helmer will do? Will she ever see her children again? She doesn't want money or anything from her husband, but that doesn't mean she doesn't see her children again. I think in our hearts we want Nora to have some input in the parenting of her children. It would be sad if she didn't. So I think that for all of us, whether we are mothers or fathers or obviously we are all children of someone. So in our own families, I think that the loss of our mother would be a major tragedy. So I think that you need to think about that. And obviously the counter argument is that Nora is selfish, like I mentioned in like the second or third part of this set of videos. So so think about all of these issues. And in discussing the playwright, you need to come to terms with what is this new world for Nora going to be like? And has she made the right decision? What are her choices? And where is she going? What will she do? I haven't discussed Christine very much, and so on a side note, I want to say that many critics and writers who have discussed the play say that Christine is like a foil. Do you know what a foil is? Is Nora's foil. So and you can argue that she is, because Christine takes up motherhood and also becomes a wife to Krogstad. I don't know if you realize that in the play, but they had a former relationship. They get back together. That's when Krogstad gives the letter back. It gives the blackmail document back to Torvald and to Nora, and saves them. So it's because he is happy and he doesn't need to blackmail Nora anymore. So if Christine is the foil to Nora, then what is her purpose in the play? So we have someone who chooses marriage, but many critics have said, well, it's not about motherhood. It's about a woman's or a human being's choice to be who they want to be. So Christine chooses marriage and chooses motherhood, while Nora rejects it to find herself. So it's about a human being's ability to choose. And that's how we can deal with the Christine problem. Otherwise, maybe it's to soften the blow of Nora's leaving. And it might simply be that. Like if we could have a conversation with Ibsen today, is it simply that the influence of Christine or the presence of Christine is merely to soften the blow of Nora's exit? All right, so that wraps it up. And I want you to think about the landmark play, A Doll's House, and how it changed people's lives back then and even today. And then again, you can think about how it relates to us today as human beings. You know, we all have have to honor our own self and be true to ourselves. And that's really what the play is all about. Take care and work hard on your essays. You know, give me a call or shoot me an email if you're having trouble. And I really look forward to reading your discussions of the play and how you come up with an idea to prove and to talk about. So do the reading, read the student essays that I posted, and be well. Take care.